Welcome back and this is Atlantic Television Network. Welcome to Global News at 9 p.m. First, the highlights. Fubara unveils Ember Month road safety campaign for motorists. Wike gives land use defaulters 14-day ultimatum. Federal government lists 700 key convicts for terrorism offenses, and federal government plans to unveil new investment funds. Hundreds join anti-pollution protests in Delhi. Gabon coach plots check-up against Super Eagles. Two-Face speaks on African Queen songs. Welcome back. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara says road safety is a collective responsibility shared by all motorists, and his administration have unveiled the Ember Month road safety campaign for motorists to avoid reckless driving and overspeeding during the festive period. The governor made this remark while inaugurating the Ember Month road safety campaign organized by the Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC during the town hall meeting in Port Harcourt. A statement by Juliana Marcy, head of the Information and Public Relations Unit in the Office of the Secretary to the State Government, said Governor Fubara stressed on the importance of maintaining road safety, whether by land or sea, not only during the Ember Month but throughout the year. Represented at the event by the Secretary to the State Government, Benibo Anabraba, the governor urged motorists to always drive responsibly and with consideration for others on the road, and also reaffirmed his administration's dedication to developing critical infrastructure across the state and encouraged residents to remain conscious of safety in their everyday activities. Earlier, FRSC Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed said the 2025 campaign theme urges all road users to adopt behaviors that safeguard lives, adding that Rivers State was deliberately chosen for this year's launch due to its status as one of Nigeria's busiest transport hubs. The Corps Marshal further said the FRSC has strengthened its personnel deployment and intensified public engagement initiatives to ensure efficient service delivery nationwide. Beach Harcourt Club, a tourism organization in Rivers State, has partnered with the Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture (PHCMA) to promote tourism and increase private sector participation in the state's economy. The meeting held at the PHCMA Secretariat brought together stakeholders from both bodies to explore opportunities for collaboration. Mr. Philip Obiando, Acting Director General of PHCMA, opened the session welcoming guests and highlighting PHCMA's key role in supporting private enterprise as Nigeria's second oldest chamber. He also introduced Dr. Chinyere Nwoga, PHCMA's first female president, alongside Mrs. Ayo Sokari, chairperson of the Tourism Trade Group, and the visiting team from Beach Harcourt Club led by Mr. Walter Beribiki. Dr. Chinye Woga, president of PACMA, expressed delight over the partnership, noting her commitment to collaborations that drive economic growth. She invited the Beach Harcourt team to outline their vision for tourism development. Mr. Walter Beribiki, president of Beach Harcourt Club, said the club aims to promote tourism as a lifestyle and an engine for growth. He announced a nasty November tourism series, 5 weekends of activity, starting with the Bonny Beach experience to showcase River State's culture and business potential. Mrs. Ayo Sokari, chairperson of BACMA's Tourism Group, praised Beach Harcourt Club's creativity and pledged the chamber's support for tourism-driven initiatives in the state.
Revenue coming in. Sightseeing, just a few mentioned. And having seen what Beach Harcourt Club did the last time at Zoo, I didn't have any hesitation to know that this one is going to be better and bigger. And well, I'm happy when you were talking to hear that you're already part of us. And being part of us, that means we give it support, courtesy the president. And Mohammed, our president, and just what she said, what the president said, and what the DJ said. This is the one and only time we've ever had a female president leading the affairs of chamber.
ATN News correspondent Timmy Toby further said that tourism will serve as a tool for economic, cultural and social development with PACMA's full backing and partnership support. River State Police Command has commenced the investigation of the death of a male suspect whose identity is under wrap, and arrested suspects for questioning over the death of the male client who came to patronize commercial sex workers in a popular brothel along Azikiwe Street, Maitudio, Port Harcourt on Sunday 9th November 2025, eyewitnesses said. The male suspect was alleged to have fought with the deceased client over an argument while they were both in the brothel on Sunday night, minutes before the male client died. The spokesperson for the River State Police Command, SP Grace Iringe Koko, in response to inquiry by Revelation agents, confirmed that the command is in receipt of report of the death of the man, and the case has been transferred to State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department SCIID. Port Harcourt by Azikiwe Police Division for discreet investigation. Nigerian Army 6th Division says operatives arrested 14 suspected oil thieves and confiscated over 20,000 liters of stolen products in the Niger Delta region, and also dismantled 14 illegal oil refining sites during a discreet operation across some flashpoints. A statement issued by Port Harcourt on Monday by the Acting Deputy Director of 6th Division Army Public Relations, Jonah Danjuma, said the feat was achieved during a raid spanning over 2 weeks across some flashpoints in the oil-rich region, and the Army Division vows to intensify the onslaught against oil thieves in the Niger Delta region in collaboration with other security agencies. The statement said troops dismantled 14 illegal refining hubs The arrest of 14 suspected oil thieves and the confiscation of over 20,205 liters of stolen products across the region. In Rivers State, along the fringes of the Imo River, troops deactivated 6 illegal refining sites, destroyed 14 drum ports and 9 drum receivers, as well as confiscated over 8,000 liters of stolen products, and the recoveries were made around Asa, Okonta and Okoloma in Oyibo local government area of Rivers State, and Obuzo in Ukwa West local government area of Abia State, and at the abandoned wellhead 3 around the remote manifold axis where 42 sacks containing over 1,250 liters of stolen crude oil were seized. In Delta State, the army said a similar operation by troops around Eromo Warren in Ugeli North local government area led to the arrest of 3 suspected oil thieves, while a J5 bus and 1 motorcycle were impounded. While in Akwa Ibom State, following actionable intelligence, troops intercepted a truck while transloading automotive gas oil AGO from an underground storage facility at Oli Field Filling Station along the Uyo Ikotekpene Road in the Ikotekpene local government area. Meanwhile, the General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Major General Emmanuel Emeka, commended the troops for the successes recorded and charged them to sustain the operational tempo in the fight against the criminals and economic saboteurs. Edo State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Eugenia Abdallah, says the state government has approved 1 billion naira soft loans for market women to strengthen their businesses and improve livelihoods. Abdullah, who disclosed this during a press conference in Benin City, where she highlighted the key achievements of the state government under its Shine agenda, said the initiative was designed to support women at the grassroots who are closest to consumers, enabling them to expand their businesses and contribute more effectively to the state's economy. According to her, 54,000 women have been targeted for entrepreneurial training, microfinance access, and skills development as part of Governor Monday Kwebelo's commitment to improving the economic status of women across Edo State, adding that the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development has intensified social protection programs for vulnerable groups across the state. She said the ministry has provided rehabilitation and shelter services for trafficked women, rape survivors, and victims of domestic violence, while ensuring that the children of affected women are placed under adequate care and protection, and reiterated that the state government's investment in women's empowerment reflects a deliberate strategy to create inclusive growth and sustainable development across all sectors of the state's economy. Abia State Governor Alex Oti has commended the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for ensuring a hitch-free exercise during the Anambra governorship election held on Saturday. Oti will stated this in his congratulatory message to Governor Chukwuma Soludo on his re-election, said the best and the easiest way to deepen Nigeria's democracy is to allow the people to freely choose their leaders through the ballot at all times, and also commended INEC for the timely declaration of the election results, describing Soludo's landslide victory as a testament to the confidence the people of Anambra repose in him. He urged the governor to consolidate on his achievements during his first tenure and extend an olive branch to his opponents in the election, adding that the olive branch will ensure that a stronger development-oriented synergy will be built when everyone that has something to offer for the development of Anambra State is part of governance. Lagos State government has issued a directive to contractors handling drainage projects across the state to adhere to agreed timelines for completion. The Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokumbo Wahab, who disclosed this during an inspection tour of Lagos Island Shomolu and Iwaya to access ongoing regeneration and flood control projects, adding that the projects jointly executed by the Office of Infrastructure, the Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency, and the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources are aimed at providing lasting relief from flooding and improving living conditions in the affected communities. Wahab said the ministry's team regularly visits the project sites to monitor progress and ensure community involvement, while urging residents to promptly report any irregularities to the ministry, and also directed that all environmental black spots around Iwaya, including areas harboring street trading, illegal shanties, and indiscriminate waste disposal, be cleared immediately. The special advisor to the governor on EGIS and urban development, Dr. Olajide Babatunde, who was part of the inspection team, reaffirmed the state government commitment to timely project delivery. The Lagos State government has signed 3 separate memoranda of understanding with private companies to advance waste conversion efforts in the state. A statement by the Director of Public Affairs, Mr. Kunle Adeshina, who said the MOUs were aimed at reducing the volume of waste in Lagos, and the MOUs were concluded at the for 11th Lagos International Climate Change Summit, which featured expert breakout and panel sessions. Additionally, said the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tokumbo Wahab, said the government was determined to convert waste to wealth, and the proposal reflected the investors' confidence in the EPRM policy of the state on waste reduction and would improve the establishment of a packaging circularity ecosystem. Additionally, said the state is determined to sensitize residents to sort their waste from source, adding that the state is working to address key issues simultaneously. In their remarks, the investors expressed appreciation and a willingness to work with the state government to actualize its waste to wealth initiative. Teacher at Shone High School, Mr. Fatai Adegoko, has allegedly died after being brutally attacked by students while attempting to stop them from gambling during school hours. According to eyewitnesses, the incident occurred after Mr. Adegoke confronted a group of students engaged in gambling within the classroom, adding that the confrontation escalated when the students turned violent, beating the teacher and inflicting multiple injuries, including broken limbs. He was immediately rushed to a nearby hospital, but later succumbed to the injuries he sustained in assault. A statement issued by a group of concerned educators, the late teacher was described as a dedicated and disciplined professional whose life was cut short in the line of duty, and the group called on the Nigerian Union of Teachers, the Teaching Service Commission, and law enforcement authorities to ensure that those responsible are brought to justice. They also urged that parents of the culprits be held accountable for failing to instill discipline in their wards, while describing the incident as a reflection of moral decline within schools and homes, and the educators stressed on the urgent need for stronger safety measures, moral education, and disciplinary enforcement in Nigeria's public schools. Thousands of residents of Ibadan in Oyo State are currently protesting over alleged plans by the state's government to acquire more lands for Ibadan Circular Road corridor, and residents have blocked some major roads in the ancient city, adding that the idea of Ibadan Circular Road was conceived when the current Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, was the governor of the state. This is coming after Ladoja marked 150 meters for the construction of the road, while the current governor, Seyi Makinde, is planning to extend the number of meters for the circular road corridor, which will affect more houses and community lands. A group of protesters are also at the entrance of Agodi Government Secretariat, armed themselves with different kinds of placards to express their displeasure over the road extension project. People's Democratic Party in Benue State has condemned the Tiv Traditional Council for endorsing the state governor Hyacinth Alia for a second term. Alia, who is serving his first term of office on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, received traditional blessings at the meeting of the traditional rulers held at the palace of the paramount ruler of Tiv Nation. The Tiv Traditional Council, known as Ije Tamen Tiv, which held its meeting and chaired by the supreme leader of the Tiv Nation, James Ayase, had taken far-reaching decisions, and among the decisions was the endorsement of the state governor Hyacinth Alia for his second term. In attendance were all categories of Tiv traditional rulers, chieftaincy title holders in Tiv land, chairman of local governments in Tiv land, some state and national legislative members in Tiv land, political appointees, and other prominent sons and daughters of Tiv. Reacting to the endorsement of the governor for a second term in office, the People's Democratic Party in the state, through its publicity secretary, Tim Inyo, expressed disappointment over the decision of the Assembly of Tiv Traditional Rulers to endorse the governor, adding that the development represented a grave departure from the sacred neutrality and moral authority expected of the traditional institution. Benue State government, in collaboration with development partners, has commenced a biometric review and issuance of new identity cards for internally displaced persons across the state. The state governor, Hyacinth Alia, who had earlier disclosed during a visit by the United States Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance led by Patrick Robinson in 2024, that over 1.5 million displaced persons in the state lack access to potable water and other basic necessities of life, adding that most of the displaced persons are housed in 15 designated camps, while others are staying with relatives in host communities. Speaking during the monthly distribution of food and non-food items to IDPs in the camps on Monday, the Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, James Lopu, said the biometric exercise aims to ensure proper documentation and inclusion of all displaced persons. Represented by the head of administration, Donald Kombenda Lopu, said The initiative was part of Alia's commitment to restoring the dignity of displaced persons under the Renewed Hope vision, stressing that the government, in partnership with humanitarian agencies, is not only meeting immediate needs, but also taking deliberate steps to restore livelihoods and rebuild communities. Lopo also said under a partnership with the UN Refuge Agency, solar-powered boreholes had been installed in returnee communities such as Tatu in Makurdi local government area, where relief materials were also distributed, stressing that in collaboration with the International Organization for Migration, the state had initiated housing and water projects at Naka Dam, including the construction of a water treatment plant to tackle persistent water scarcity in Naka IDP camp and surrounding host communities. Plateau State Governor Caleb Moftwang has called on citizens to sustain the prevailing peace in the state, reaffirming his administration's commitments to fostering harmony and coexistence across the state. He made the call during the 2025 Wusa Berom service held at Mararaban, Jama, Jos South local government area, organized by the Berom Language and Translation Board, while addressing a gathering of worshippers, traditional leaders, clergy, and political dignitaries. Moftwang expressed gratitude to God and the Berom people for their steadfast support. The governor commended the clergy for promoting love and brotherhood among the people, stressing that unity and mutual benefit and mutual respect remain the foundation for the state's progress, and also reaffirmed his regard for traditional institutions, particularly the reverse stool of the Gwom Jos, describing it as a Plateau stool, not just a Berom stool, and assured that his administration would continue to support and strengthen traditional leadership structures as a means of sustaining peace, harmony, and stability across the state. The chairman of the Wuzal Berom 2025 Planning Committee, Reverend Daniel Sajay, expressed appreciation to all stakeholders for their immense contributions and also highlight on the unveiling of the proposed Wuzal Berom Arena, symbolizing a new era of unity, cultural revival, and progress for the Berom Nation and Plateau State. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Yesom Wike, has issued a final 14-day grace period to property owners in Asokoro, Maitama, Garaki, and Wuse districts to pay a 5 million naira penalty for violating approved land use provisions. A statement by his senior special assistant on public communications and social media, Lere Olayinka, the minister ordered all affected allottees to comply between Tuesday, November 11 and November 12, 2025 or face enforcement action. Wike also approved a 7.5% charge on the accessed capital value of properties converted without the knowledge or permission of the FCT administration, payable within 30 days, adding that the administration published the names of 374 defaulting property and title holders, urging them to pay the stated fines within the stipulated period. The affected properties are located on Ghana and Usuma Streets in Maitama, Yakubu Gowon Crescent in Nasokoro, Aminu Kanu and Adetokumbo Ademola Crescent in Wuse 2, Aladoke Akintola Boulevard, Gimbiya and Onisha Street in Garaki 2, including Obomosho Street, Lafia Close, Yola Street, Abriba Close, Dambata Street, Ringim Close, and Ilorin Street in Garaki 1. The statement said owners of who regularize their land use within the grace period would receive new title documents reflecting the updated use and a renewed 99-year term, adding that the constitution for the issuance of new title documents does not apply to land titles already withdrawn or revoked for non-development, non-payment of ground rents, or other infractions. Federal government, through the National Sugar Development Council, has initiated plans to establish a multi-million-dollar sugar production project in Taraba State, aiming to boost local output and advance Nigeria's drive towards self-sufficiency in sugar. The Executive Secretary, Kama Bakrin, led a delegation to Jalingo, accompanied by officials of Lee Group, to seek the backing of Governor Agbu Kefas and the Taraba State government for the initiative, describing the project as a major investment capable of significantly increasing Nigeria's sugar production capacity, reducing reliance on imports, and stimulating economic development. He highlighted that NSDC's roles include supporting investors through financing, feasibility studies, technical training, research, and land access, and Taraba State passed all technical and environmental suitability assessments, making it an ideal location for large-scale sugar production. Bakin also confirmed that Lee Group, through its subsidiary G-Now Sugar, met all requirements as a credible investor with both financial and technical capacity. And in response, Governor Agbo Kefas expressed the state government's full support, reaffirming his administration's commitment to creating an investment-friendly environment. He described Taraba as rich in natural resources with vast fertile land suitable for agricultural ventures, adding that the state has overcome previous security challenges and is now stable and safe for investors, urging business stakeholders to capitalize on the opportunities available in the state's agricultural sector, particularly in sugar production. Catholic priests and community groups in southern Taraba State have sounded their alarm over renewed waves of violence and killings allegedly perpetrated by armed headsmen across several communities under the Catholic Diocese of Wukari. Speaking on Monday in Jalingo, the Director of Social Communications for the Diocese, Reverend Father John Lykel, described the situation as devastating, revealing that many rural parishes have been abandoned following sustained assaults that have claimed multiple lives and destroyed entire villages. Similarly, Reverend Father George Dogo, parish priest of Holy Family Catholic Church, Takum, expressed frustration over what he described as the indifference of security operatives despite repeated warnings about impending attacks. In a related development, the Taraba TV Youth Development Forum has urged Governor Abu Kefas to deploy additional security personnel to the Chanchachi ward of Takum local government area to prevent further bloodshed. In the joint statement signed by the forum's President Tokuma Lupet Moses and Secretary Uko Moses Waga, the group condemned the renewed attacks on tea farming communities, reporting that over 1,000 families have been displaced and properties worth millions of naira destroyed since violence resumed last week. The forum called on the state government to establish more military outposts in the affected areas and provide emergency relief materials, including food, medical supplies, and shelter for displaced residents. The group further appealed to the federal government and international partners to classify Taraba as a priority state under the National Livestock Transformation Plan (NLTP) to help curb recurring herder farmer conflicts. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We return after this break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network, and now to the rest of our stories. House of Representatives have commenced investigation into the over $1.8 billion and $2.8 billion grants received by Nigeria from the Global Fund and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, between 2021 and 2025 for the fight against HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, as well as for strengthening health systems. In his opening address, the chairman of the House Committee on Infectious Diseases, Honorable Amobi Godwin Oga, said the probe was essential to determine how the huge grants had been utilized and to ensure accountability in the management of funds aimed at tackling infectious diseases ravaging Nigerians. Oga commended Speaker Tajuddin Abbas and the leadership of the House for renaming and expanding the committee's mandate to the House Committee on Infectious Diseases, reflecting a broader focus on public health threats, and also urged implementing partners to prepare for robust parliamentary oversight towards ensuring accountability from all entities receiving donor grants. Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Muhammad Ali Pate, called for a gradual end to Nigeria's dependence on foreign aid in funding its response to HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria, adding that the country must take greater responsibility for financing its health priorities as donor funding declines after 2 decades of support, while describing the probe as a welcome step toward transparency, accountability, and domestic ownership of health programs.
And we have the list, and we have shared with the committee with the amounts, with how it's been used, and they are mandated to disclose everything that the committee would like to see. The commodities that were procured and delivered, who has been delivered, who has been treated. Of course, there are sensitivities around who is treated for what disease. That is personal information, so that will be identified. But more than 1.5 million Nigerians on ARVs, they are identified and we know them. They are nationals and we want to continue to support them. And the network of people living with HIV is here as well. The same thing with tuberculosis. Every information that you would like to receive, I think we have it and will be provided to you. We also are glad that the EFCC and ICPC are here, and we urge them to also dig deeper so that if there are any issues at the system, that we can collectively remedy them so that the domestic financing that we expect from this engagement will also be used properly.
Speaker Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, who was represented by the House Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Ibrahim Ishaka, said the investigation reflects the Parliament's resolve to ensure transparency in health funding.
We encourage constructive engagement among government agencies, international partners, civil society, and other organizations, and stakeholders within the frame of the mandates of this committee. The public is assured to have access to reliable information, including summaries of findings and timely updates as the process advances. I invite all stakeholders, government, ministries and agencies, international partners, NGOs, healthcare providers, communities, and the media to engage constructively. Let us work together to translate evidence into actionable reforms.
Federal government says more than 700 individuals have been convicted and jailed for terrorism-related offenses across Nigeria, with several other prosecutions currently underway, adding that the aim is to support Nigeria in protecting vulnerable populations, as well as help Nigeria develop a proactive plan to protect the vulnerable, repeal blasphemy laws, hold perpetrators accountable, and rescue hostages. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, will disclose this in response to a question from the number of convicted terrorists and in response to the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by President Donald Trump. The Information Minister had last week disclosed that 17,000 terrorists were in custody. He denied the allegations that Christians were being persecuted in Nigeria, adding that the special court established for Boko Haram cases had already held more than 17 sittings, during which over 700 high-profile suspects were convicted. The court, now in its 8th session, continues to hear new cases as part of efforts to strengthen the rule of law in counter-terrorism operations, while the Department of State Services had concluded investigations and is prosecuting major cases, including the Owo Church attack, the mastermind of the Inyanya bombings, and the Yewata attack suspects, alongside individuals involved in other terror incidents. Idris further said the Nigeria Police Force is handling hundreds of cases across all states, while the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps and other security agencies are actively engaged in similar prosecutions nationwide, and also stated that economic crimes such as oil bunkering, theft, and pipeline vandalism are being diligently prosecuted in various courts. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Bernard Doro, has assured displaced Nigerians of federal government commitment to their rehabilitation and protection to make hope a reality for the poor, displaced, and vulnerable. Addressing journalists in Jos on Monday, Doro said his ministry's vision is to pursue a humanitarian response as a right and a responsibility of government, including strengthening social protection systems, expanding access to poverty alleviation programs, and ensuring that humanitarian support reaches those in need. Doro also assured the people of Plateau State that his appointment was a collective effort to demonstrate that Plateau can lead the way in humanitarian leadership, social inclusion, and compassionate governance. He further stressed on the importance of partnership and transparency, inviting scrutiny and collaboration from journalists, civil society, and development partners. Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, is insisting that there is ongoing Christian genocide in the country, describing the denial by the Islamic Council as the desecration of freedom of worship in Nigeria. The PFN president, Bishop Francis Oke, who discloses in Lebanon, said the scale and persistence of attacks on Christians in several parts of northern Nigeria could no longer be debated, and expressed regrets, while the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs rejected the Christian genocide claims against kidnappers, insurgents, and terrorist violence against the Christian community. According to the council, their situation on ground is a security challenge and not a religious war, describing the claims as false, politically driven, and a threat to national unity. Speaking to journalists in Ibadan, Oyo State, the PFN president, Bishop Oke, recounted numerous unresolved attacks ranging from the killings in Benue and Plateau, violence in southern Kaduna, and the Owo Church massacre, describing it as a consistent pattern of violence directed at Christian communities. African Democratic Congress, ADC, has expressed dissatisfaction with the conduct of the Saturday Anambra governorship election, describing it as a heavily monetized process that undermines democracy. A statement in Abuja by East National Publicity Secretary Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, the party accused the ruling All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, in Anambra of engaging in widespread cash for votes, and also decried what he called the silence of security agencies and the inaction of electoral officials, saying that it compromised democratic values. It said more troubling was the apparent silence and in some cases the visible inaction of institutions mandated to enforce electoral integrity and protect protect the sanctity of votes, while the party alleged the security operatives stood by as voters were harassed and compromised, adding that electoral officials, overwhelmed or indifferent, ignored the most basic standards of fairness. ADC also reaffirmed its commitment to building a Nigeria where leadership was earned through integrity, inclusion and service, not through financial inducement. Tension is mounting in the factional camps of the opposition People's Democratic Party as more than 3,000 delegates prepare to converge on the ancient city of Ibadan, Oyo State, for the party's National Elective Convention. The event, billed for November 15 and 16, 2025, has been a subject of controversy among the two warring camps in the party and the National Working Committee, led by the acting national chairman of the PDP, Umar Damagum, who enjoys the support of the PDP Governors Forum, the Board of Trustees, and the Forum of State Chairman, among others. This is coming after Justice James Omotosho delivered a ruling restraining the leadership of the party from going ahead with the planned convention and also barred the Independent National Electoral Commission from monitoring it, arguing that the PDP failed to comply with its own rules, which require certain designated officers to notify INEC of the convention. Following the ruling, the Namagum-led NWC suspended the National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, National Legal Advisor Kamaldeen Ajibade, and the National Organizing Secretary Omar Bature for a period of 1 month for alleged anti-party activities. As the two camps squared up against each other, the Namagum-led faction secured an ex parte order granted by Justice Ladiron Akintola of the Oyo State High Court last week, directing the PDP to proceed with the convention, while an official at the PDP Secretariat with knowledge of this crisis said more than 3,000 delegates would gather in Ibadan to elect new leaders for the party. National Youth Service Corps says it has commenced the physical verification of credentials and travel documents for foreign trained Nigerian graduates who registered for the 2025 Batch C service year and has commenced today, Monday, November 10 to Wednesday, November 12, 2025, across designated centers nationwide. According to a statement titled Notification of Physical Verification of Credentials and Travel Documents of Foreign Trained Graduates for the 2025 Batch C service year issued by the NYSC management, this exercise is meant for prospective corps members whose documents are yet to be physically verified after completing their online registration. The release was also shared on its X account, and the statement listed the verification centers including the NYSC Secretariat, 2 Abakaliki Road, GRA, Enugu, Shadawanka Military Barracks, Bauchi NYSC Orientation Camp, Kubwa, as well as the Abuja Bukavu Military Barracks, Faje, Airport Road, Kano NYSC Orientation Camp, Yana Ipaja, Lagos NYSC Secretariat, Ni Ikiron Road, Oshogbo, NYSC Secretariat, 40 Ikwe Road, Port Harcourt, Eagle Officers Mess, Gingia Military Barracks, Goso Road, Sokoto, and NYSC Secretariat, Federal Secretariat Complex, Yola. The Corps said all participants must present the original copies of their credentials and travel documents as uploaded online during registration, and also clarify the process for those who obtained their qualifications abroad and required official recognition. President of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Professor Chris Piruna, has decried the persistent neglect of the educational sector and the inability to prioritize education as national collective responsibility. Piruna, who spoke during the Toyin Falola in a virtual conversation titled A Conversation with the ASU President, said the indifference of key government officials towards the education sector has made it difficult to achieve sustainable reforms, adding that members of the Federal Executive Council often view education challenges as the sole responsibility of the Minister of Education. Also said the federal government's response to education issues was further hindered by ideological differences and corruption, stressing that universities could generate more income if government ministries patronized them for consultancy, research, and training services. On his part, NLC President Joe Ajero urged the government and also to adopt a holistic approach to solving the education crisis. And now to some business news. Federal government has planned to introduce 2 new investment funds under 8 investments in digital and creative enterprises program to boost Nigeria's technology and creative sectors in 2026. A statement issued on Monday by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkwocha, said that the funds will target strategic investments in startups across the country as part of efforts to drive innovation and youth empowerment. Nkwocha said the declaration followed a milestone in the DICE initiative as Vice President Kashim Shettima, who chairs the program's steering committee, confirmed the formal commencement of investments through an anchor venture fund managed by Ventures Platform, adding that the new fund has secured $64 million during in its first funding round with institutional investors including the International Finance Corporation, Standard Bank of South Africa and British International Investment joining as partners. The fund targets a final close of $75 million. Managing Director of the Bank of Industry, Dr. Olashopo Olusi, said the investment in Ventures Platforms Fund 2 reflects the government's commitment to expanding opportunities in the tech and creative sectors. Nigeria's power distribution companies grew their revenue collections by about 43% in the first 8 months of 2025, raking in a total of 1.5 trillion naira compared with 1.5 trillion naira recorded in the same period of 2024, data from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. The NERC, in its latest commercial performance report, said the 12 electricity distribution firms jointly collected 553.63 billion naira in the first quarter of 2025, 564.71 billion naira in the second quarter, and 193.96 billion naira in July. And the next August 2025 fact sheet showed an additional 191.11 billion naira was remitted by the companies during the month, bringing total collections between January and August 2025 to about 1.503 trillion naira. The revenue jump is attributed to a combination of better tariff enforcement, ongoing metering drives, and tighter revenue monitoring by the regulator, which reached 80% in August 2025, up slightly from previous months, suggesting that the sector may be on track for a more financially stable year. The improvement represents a strong recovery from the power sector, which had struggled with revenue leakages, poor metering, and high technical losses in previous years, while NEC warned that the utilities must still close gaps in billing accuracy and energy accounting, as the national billing efficiency averaged 83.85%. He argued that the cost-reflective tariff should be based on the investment in infrastructure, especially in the distribution value chain of the power sector, and the negligence on the part of DISCO is contributing to their claim of lack of liquidity in the sector. Federal government has unveiled plans to make the long-awaited National Housing Data Center fully operational by December. A statement said the move is aimed at transforming Nigeria's housing and real estate policy landscape through credible, evidence-based data, and the initiative unites both public and private sector stakeholders to standardize housing data, monitor deficit reduction efforts, and guide policy and investment decisions. The chairman of the Technical Committee of the National Housing Data Program, Dr. Taufik Olatunwo, said it will operate as a federated system, allowing states, ministries, departments, and agencies to feed data at regular intervals into a unified national platform, adding that the approach aims to ensure both state-level disaggregation and national coordination, enabling the government to identify housing gaps, affordability trends, and emerging urban patterns. The statement said organizations are providing technical support to align Nigeria's data architecture with accepted indicators, key performance metrics, and reporting dashboards used globally, and had also begun engaging state governments to ensure nationwide participation, forming the foundation for broader engagement across all 36 states. The NHDC project is supported by a joint committee comprising representatives from leading housing and finance institutions, including the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company, National Bureau of Statistics, National Population Commission, Central Bank of Nigeria, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, and the Federal Housing Authority. And now to international tidbits. Iran, especially its capital, Tehran, is facing an unprecedented drought this autumn, with rainfall as record lows and reservoirs nearly empty, while officials are pleading with citizens to conserve water as the crisis deepens. President Masoud Pezeshkian has warned that if there is not enough rainfall soon, Tehran's water supply could be rationed, but he said that even rationing might not be enough to prevent a disaster. In the summer, Iranian rapper Vava Ahmadpour posted a video on social media showing a kitchen tap with no running water, and the government is now pinning its hopes on late autumn rain, but forecasts are bleak, and Iran's Minister of Energy Abbas Ali Abadi has warned the situation could soon force authorities to cut water supplies. Iran's Energy Minister Ali Abadi said Tehran's water crisis is not only due to a lack of rainfall, and further blamed water leakage caused by the capital's century-old water infrastructure, and even pointed to the recent 12-day war with Israel. Deal aimed at ending the U.S. government shutdown has passed the Senate, paving the way for the record-breaking impasse to be broken. And after a weekend of negotiations in Washington, a minority of Democrats joined with Republicans to vote in favor of an agreement. The vote is a procedural first step towards passing the compromise to fund the government since they ran out of money 1st October, and it will need to clear several more hurdles, including a vote from the House of Representatives before federal employees and services return. But it is the first serious sign of progress after 40 days of deadlock. The current shutdown is the longest on record in the U.S., and until this weekend, it appeared that Republican and Democratic lawmakers were locked in a stalemate, and many government services have been suspended since October, and around 1.4 million federal employees are on unpaid leave or working without pay. The agreement was negotiated between the Senate Majority Leader John Thune and the White House, with Democratic Senators Jian Shaheen and Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire and Angus King of Maine, and independents who caucuses with the Democrats. Democratic Party leaders had said they would not lend their support to new funding for government operations until Congress addressed the subsidies that help tens of millions of Americans pay for health insurance purchased through government-run exchanges. Hundreds of people in Delhi took to the streets to protest against pollution as air quality continues to worsen in India's capital and surrounding areas, while people of all ages, including children, held banners and shouting slogans demanding that the government take action to curb pollution, which is touching severe levels. Around 80 people were briefly detained by the police, who said the protesters did not have permission to gather near India Gate, a landmark in the city, adding that though air pollution is a recurring problem in northern India, especially in winters, it was the first protest on the issue in a while. Over the past 3 weeks, Delhi's air quality index, which measures the level of PM 2.5 or fine particulate matter in the air that can clog lungs, and has been hovering up between 300 and 400, which is nearly 20 to 30 times the acceptable limits marked by the World Health Organization. Police said they detained around 80 people who were released later, and several opposition leaders, university students, journalists, and environmental activists were among the protesters. Here now is ATN Sports News. Panthers of Gabon head coach Thierry Muyoma plans to alter his tactics for the 2026 FIFA World Cup playoff tie with Nigeria. Gabon and Nigeria will clash in the semi-final of the playoffs at the Prince Heritage Moulay El Hassan Sports Complex Rabat on Thursday. Ahead of the game, Muyoma said the quality of the Super Eagles has forced him to have a rethink on how to approach the game, while the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon and Leopards of Democratic Republic of Congo will clash in the other last four tie at the El Barid Stadium, Rabat. The final will be played at the Prince Heritage Moulay El Hassan Sports Complex, Rabat on Sunday. Inter Miami forward Lionel Messi was spotted inside the redeveloped Nou Camp Stadium on Sunday, sparking rumors of a possible return to Barcelona. Messi left Barca to join Paris Saint-Germain as a free agent in August 2021, and since then he has not returned to the club. However, posting a picture of himself inside the stadium, Messi said he had also been linked with a loan move to Galatasaray as he tries to maintain his fitness ahead of the 2026 World Cup. And now entertainment news. Legendary Nigerian musician Innocent Idibia, popularly known as Two-Face, has described African Queen as the song that gave his career a spark, stressing that it is also one of the songs he resonates with the most. He, however, said the song has been a burden despite its huge benefits, adding that there have been controversies about the authorship of the song following Two-Face's former bandmate Blackface repeated claims that Two-Face stole the song from him. Two-Face in a previous interview admitted that African Queen was originally a collaboration with his former bandmates, but denied stealing the song. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. Fubara unveils Ember Month's road safety campaign for motorists. Wike gives land users the defaulters 14-day ultimatum. Federal government leaves 700 convicts for terrorism offences. FG plans to unveil new investment funds, and hundreds join anti-pollution protests in Delhi. Gabon coach plots shake-up against Super Eagles. Two-Face speaks on African Queen songs. I am Fable. Chief question Michael. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on social media platforms on Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, on Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, and on Instagram as Atlantic TV Network. And not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. To have a pleasant night's rest.